Welcome to lecture number 23 of the course Introduction to Computer and Programming. In this lecture, first of all, we will see an exercise program. We will write a definition of a function, and then we come to the 2D array, two-dimensional array of character, initializing two-dimensional array of character, assigning values and displaying those values, and then array of pointer to string. We have seen array of pointers when we are in array chapter. जब हम array of integers देख रहे थे तब हमने array of pointers भी देखा था, but now we will see array of pointers, and in this array each element points to a string. Then we will see what is a garbage value, then very important topic, dynamic memory allocation and free function. In the previous lecture we have seen some standard C library string function. There are a list of these functions. You can find this list in book, but we have seen in detail these four functions that are more frequently used. String length function, strlen, short for string length, that is used to determine the length of the string. String copy function, strcpy, it is used to copy the content of one string into another string. And string cat function, string strcat, string cat, it is short for string concatenation, that is used to append the content of one string at the end of other string. And string compare, strcmp, this function is used to compare two strings whether they are equal or not, and if both strings are equal, string compare function returns 0, and for any non-zero value it means that the strings are not equal. In today's lecture, first of all we will see an exercise program. We will write a program. Then two-dimensional array of characters. We will see what is a two-dimensional array of character, what is the memory mapping of 2D array of characters, and then array of pointers to string, garbage value, dynamic memory allocation in C, and free function. So first of all, let's come to the exercise program. So the exercise program problem statement is write the definition of the following function, then call it from the main to check whether it works or not. So this is the function count character. So it has two parameter and it returns an integer value. So what this function does, it will find the number of occurrence of the second parameter, that is a character, in a string that is pointed by the first parameter and returns that number. So एक character किसी particular string में जिसका address आप यहाँ पर पास कर रहे हैं as a first parameter कितनी मर्तबा आया है, ये function वो count return करेगा. For example, हमारे पास string है hello, HELLO, and if the character to find in that string is L, then this function returns 2 because hello में L दो दफा आया है. Let's write the program for this. Okay, let's declare a string hello world. Let's declare a character ch is equal to and assign a value to it, let's say L. So L is string में hello world में कितनी दफ़ा आया, 3 times आया है. So our function should return 3. So count character is not a built-in function. You have to write the definition of that function, or we will be writing the definition of that function here. So then in the printf %d count is equal to %d, comma, and then we call the function that is count character, and we pass the base address of the string or base address of the character array, and the base address is str, or you can write and str within square bracket 0. This is the address of the 0th index element, and this is also the address of 0th index element. So both are correct. And the variable, so what will be passed to the function? The value of this variable, value of ch variable is L will be passed, and the base address of the string, that will be passed to this function count character. Okay, let's write the prototype of the function. The function return types is int, function name is count character, and the first parameter is the address. So the first parameter we should mention in the definition of count character should be a pointer, because it holds the memory address. Now what should be the type of the pointer? Now we know that this is a string, so the value stored at that address is character, so the type of the pointer here is also character, right? And then int, not int, and the second parameter is also the character. We have to find this character in the string that is pointed by this pointer, and we have to return the number of occurrence. So जो value ये return करेगा, that will be printed over here in this printf function. So let's write the definition. Int count character, okay, character static p pointer and character, let's say variable name is c. So c is the variable, c is not the character constant. Okay, now first we have to declare a variable that is a counter. We initialize it with 0, and every time when we find the value of this variable in a string that is pointed by this pointer, we will increment this counter, right? Okay, so we have to start searching the string from the base address, and we move on until we find the null character. So the condition in the loop will be while static p is not equal to null, and then we have to increment the static p as well. हमें static p को increment भी करना होगा, p plus plus, and what we have to check in each iteration of the loop. So शुरू में static p will point to the first character, then the static p is incremented, then it points to the next character, and we keep on incrementing the pointer p until the value of static p is null character, right? And in each iteration we will be checking that static p, if static p is equals to, because static p is a character, so we can compare it like this. जब static p करेंगे, it is a character, so you can compare it with any character. But in the printf function, if you want to print the value of this string, if you want to print this whole string, you can write p and you can use format specifier %s. I will show you in this program as well. Let's first write the definition of count character, counter plus plus. Okay, seems like it is perfectly fine, and then we have to return counter. So the value of the counter will be returned when the while loop exits. So p at the beginning, when we call the function, we are passing the base address, so pointer p points to the first element of this string, that is age, and in the loop it will compare age is not equal to null. Condition is true, so it comes inside, it will compare age is equal to L, it's not, so it increments p, and then it again check e is not equal to null, condition is true, and then in if condition it checks e is equals to is, or e is equal to L, condition is false, it won't increment counter, again p plus plus. Now the value of p is L, static p is L. Now static p is L, L is not equal to null, condition is true, it comes inside, static p, that is L, is equals to L, condition is true, it increments the pointer. So this is how it works. And और ये loop कब तक चलता रहेगा? Loop उस वक्त तक चलता रहेगा जब तक static p null नहीं हो जाता. That means you have traversed the complete string, and you have counted how many times you find the value stored in character C, and that value is the value you passed from here in the main function. Okay, now let's So this program should return value 3 if it works fine. Let's see. Compile successfully, and so the counter is 3, right? So now you are able to write such definitions. String compare function की definition भी लिखें, and all those functions that are available in the string chapter, try to write the definition of all those functions. And in the exam, in the paper, my exam is usually the major portion of my exam is usually based on the function definition, so you have to write such definitions in the exam as well. Okay, let's run it for the space character. Okay, space character kitni dafa hai? It occurs at one time only. So let's compile and execute it. So it gives 1, right? Now let's see the two-dimensional array of character. It is same as 2D array of integer, except that each 1D array in two-dimensional array terminates at null character. We have seen in the when we are on 2D array of integers, that we have seen that each 2D array of integers is basically composed of a combination of 1D arrays, right? One or more than 1D arrays. So same is the case here, that 2D array of character is basically composed of 1D arrays, and each 1D array terminate at null character. Like this is a 2D array of integer, and this is the not exactly the memory representation of that array. So it has 0, 1, 2, so 3 rows, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6 column. So 3 rows and 6 column. Let's see, this is the array of character. This is again 3 rows and 6 columns. So the first string is hello, terminated by the null character. Second string is world, again terminated by the null character, and the third string is Harry, again terminated by the null character. So, but the difference is also in the memory that is allocated for character and integer array. In an integer array, each element takes 4 bytes, while in character array each elements take only 1 byte of memory. But in 2D array, each 1D array terminates at null character, as shown in the slide. Now, initializing two-dimensional array of character. So this is one way of the initializing two-dimensional array of character, and that is initializing at declare time. So you are declaring a two-dimensional array that is master list. It contains 6 rows and 10 columns. So 6 rows, in row number 1 the name Ahmed will be stored, row number 2 Fahad, 3 Nazia, 4 Waqas, 5th Ali, and 6 Salman. So 0th index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is 6 rows. And same is the case here with the columns. So this is row, this is column, and this is the memory mapping. So columns are 10, so 0 to 9 they are the columns. So the first string is Ahmed, terminated by the null character. Second string is Fahad, terminated by the null character. Second last string is Ali, terminated by null character, and last string is Salman, terminated by the null character. Now you can see these bytes, they are not used in this program, so they are kind of wastage. So ये bytes इस program में waste हो रहे हैं, because our first string is just Ahmed, and we are wasting here 1, 2, 3, 4 bytes. Same is the case with the second row. We are wasting 4 byte here, 4 here, 4 here, 6 here, and 3 here, right? We can avoid this wasting. We will see how. So this is one way of initializing two-dimensional array of character. This is another way of initializing two-dimensional array of character from the user. आप user से value input लें और उस two-dimensional array में input करें. Now you can see we have a two-dimensional array of character whose name is name. It contains 3 rows and 10 columns. So जिस तरह last, let me go to the previous slide. जिस तरह हमारे पास last में थी, we have 6 rows and 10 columns. So in the next slide we have 3 rows, just we have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and 10 columns. Okay, so we are going to enter 3 names, that is at 0th index, on 1th index, and 2nd index of the row. Now you can see this thing, this is the base address. So when the value of I is 0, enter name will be printed, and the name thing you are going to input is a string, and that will be stored in this address, and name 0 is the address of the first array, first one-dimensional character array in this two-dimensional array. ठीक है, आपको याद होगा जब हमने इंटीजर टू डायमेंशनल अरे देखी थी तो उसमें हमने देखा था कि इफ वी यूज द name of the 2D array with only one pair of square bracket, then this is the address of a particular 1D array in that 2D array. So if the value of I is 0, it is the address of the first row or first array in that 2D array, and when the value of I is 1, it is the address of the second row, and if when the value of I is 2, it is the address of the third array in that 2D array. So first array, second array and third array के addresses आ जाएंगे, and in scanf function में we need addresses. So उस address पे values store कर देगा, right? And then here we are printing this thing. So again printf function को whenever you are going to display the string or the content of the string, you use the format specifier %s, and then you have to tell the address, memory address, from where it has to start reading this string and display it on the screen. And it will start read from this address and display it on the screen until it finds null character, right? Now this thing that is equals to this. You can write and name of I 0. So value of I is 0, 0. So 0, 0 element का address होगा, that is the address of the first one-dimensional array or the first row, and then 1, 0 is the address of the second row, and 2, 0 is the address of the third row, right? So this is the memory that is allocated. So 0th row, let's say user ने Ahmed input किया था, when the input finishes, it write the string input by the user and then the null character, because यहाँ पर null character C खुद से insert करेगा. You do not need to input null character when you type in the name. क्यों खुद से insert करेगा? Because every string in C terminates at null character. And then in the second, it input the name Ali, and then null character, and then third name is Nazia, and then null character, right? So name of 0 is the address of this one-dimensional array, name of 1 is the address of this second 1D array, and name of 2 is the address of this third 1D array in this 2D array. But actually memory is allocated like this. So it is continuous, whether it is two-dimensional array. This is what we have seen when we are on the 2D array of integers, that memory is allocated, not allocated in the form of a table, but it is allocated in a continuous form. So this is the first row, right? And then this is the second row, and then this is the third row. So ये continuous form में यहाँ पे आगे जगह नहीं थी, इसलिए I have to write this thing in the next line. But this is continuous. Now you can see one thing over here, or you can observe one thing, that this is the memory wastage. So these bytes are going waste. We are wasting these bytes. What is the ideal condition? Ideal thing is that अगर हमने Ahmed name store करना है, we should allocate 5 bytes, not more than 5 bytes, because not 5 bytes, 6 bytes rather. Because 5 byte is for the name Ahmed and the 6th byte is for the null character. And same is the case with Ali. If we want to store the string Ali, then we should allocate only 4 byte of memory, and so on. But we are not doing this thing over here, because whenever you have to declare a two-dimensional array, you have to specify the size. You can say, okay, it is quite possible that there could be a name whose length is 9 character. We have to accommodate that name also in the name array. ठीक है? So usually आप इसकी length 20 bytes रखते हैं कि यहाँ से इसका 0 से start होकर 19 तक जाए, because it is quite possible कि किसी बंदे का नाम काफ़ी बड़ा हो. So we should be able to accommodate that name as well, right? And किसी बंदे का नाम छोटा भी हो सकता है, like जिस तरह अली है. So we should be able to accommodate that as well. So अगर array का size बड़ा होगा, ये accommodate तो हो जाएगा, but कुछ bytes जो हैं वो waste जा रहे हैं. We have to avoid this wastage. So this is the waste of the memory. Memory waste जा रही है, right? Let's see the example program. example program asks you to type your name. When you do so, it checks your name against a master list to see if the name is present in the list or not. So एक master list पहले से program में मौजूद है. We will see that list in the source code of the program, and then we type in some name, and then that program tells whether the type in name is present in that list or not. Let's go to the program. Okay, this is the master list containing name 1, Ahmed, Fahad, Nazia, Waqas, Ali and Salman. So ये तमाम name 6 नाम exist कर रहे हैं. Then we take input from the user in an array your name. So your name is the array composed of 10 bytes. So that is the base address of this array. इस array का base address क्या होगा? Your name. Or you can write and your name, and within square bracket you can write 0. Then the loop, we have a for loop. अच्छा, for loop में हम क्या कर रहे हैं? For loop में हम ये कर रहे हैं, इसको हम चलाएंगे because we have 6 name, so we have to start checking from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have to check all the 6 name. But if we find the name, for example, if the user input Fahad, we find that name over here, then there's no need to check further. We have to break the loop using the break statement. You remember that break statement that is used to break the loop. That is this statement, right? So in the string compare function, we are comparing. हम compare कर रहे हैं, किसको compare कर रहे हैं? So this is the address of the first 1D array or the first row, and this is the address of the array जिसमें आपने जो input name दिया था वो store है. We pass it to the string compare function, and its value will be stored in a variable a whose type is integer. Then we check if a is equal to 0. अगर a 0 है, that means then this thing and this, the value over in your name, are equal. For example, the value of I is 0 initially, so and master list 0 0, that will be this name Ahmed, right? So Ahmed will be compared with the content of your name array. When the value of I is 1, then it is and master list 1 0. So 1 0 is the second one-dimensional array, that is Fahad. इसी तरह से 2 0, that will be this third array जिसमें हमारे पास लिखा हुआ है string है Nazia, and then the fourth one-dimensional array when the value of I is 3, because 0, this is 0 row, this is 1th row, this is 2nd row, 3rd row, 4th row and 5th row, and we have 10 columns. ठीक है? String compare function को अब you have to tell the base address of both the strings, and it will tell you whether they are equal or not. If it returns 0, then this means that they are equal. If it returns any other value, then this means that they are not. Okay, we have a flag over here. We initialize the flag with 0, and if the both strings are equal, then this means that value of a is 0. Then it prints name is present in the master list. कि name मौजूद है master list में, and when we have to print the other message, that is the name is not present in the master list, ये हमने loop से बाहर print करना है. ठीक है? So we set the flag 1, that means we find the name that it is present in the list, then we break the loop. So controls come over here, then it check if the value of the flag is 0. Flag की value 0 कब रहेगी? Loop पूरा का पूरा execute हो जाएगा, and control if statement के अंदर नहीं आएगा, इस if block को execute नहीं करेगा. Then this means that it is unable to find the name that is entered by the user. इस particular case में यहाँ पर flag की value 0 ही रहेगी, and when it come outside the loop, then it check the condition. If 0 is equal to 0, the condition is true, and display the message sorry name not found in the master list. So जब भी इसको नाम मिल जाएगा master list में, वो flag की value 1 कर देगा, so that this message won't get printed. Right? Let's compile this program and execute it. So enter your name. Okay, let's say my name is okay, Salman. Name is present in the master list. Okay, perfect. Let's run it again and input the name. Najam, sorry, name not found in the master list. So Najam is not present in the master list. So that's why I display the message not found in the master list. Here let me show you something interesting, that C is a case sensitive language, so all the names are in small alphabets. So what if we type the name like ALI? So A is capital, the name is Ali, that is present in the list. You have seen it, that it is present in the list, but it is with small a, and here we are giving input with capital A. Then it displays the message, sorry, name not found in the master list, because Ali with capital A is different with Ali with small a, right? So we can change our function, we can use string compare I. Now string compare I is the function that compares to string. String compare I function is a function that compares to string regardless of the case. So if the first string is capital ABC and the second string is small abc, it said that both the strings are equal. Now this function will accommodate this problem. If I input ALI like this, all capital, it displays me the message name is present in the master list, because now I use the function string compare I. So string compare I function different है string compare function से strcmp से. किस तरह से कि string compare string strcmp function is a case sensitive function. If the one string is in capital and the like ABC and the second string is in small abc, then string strcmp function gives non-zero value. That means it says that they are not equal. But string compare I function works differently. It compares two strings regardless of the case. So if the first string is capital ABC and the second string is small abc, it said that both the strings are equal. Now array of pointer to string. So in the previous program you have seen that we have allocated 10 bytes for each name, because each column of each row is composed of 10 byte, and whether the name takes 4 byte or 6 byte or 3 bytes, so all the other bytes are actually the wastage of memory. So we can address this problem using array of pointer to string. A pointer variable always contains a memory address, that is what we already know, and an array of pointer would contain a number of addresses. Yes, we have seen this when we declare array of pointer to integers. Okay. Now this is array of pointer to string. So what is the size of this array? The size is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Size of this array name is 6. It contains 6 elements, and each element is a pointer. That means it takes 4 bytes in the memory. The type of the pointer is character. That means each pointer points to the memory location where you have a string, where you have characters, alphabets. Array contains base address of the respective names. So this array names contains the base address of Ahmed, Fahad, Nazia, Waqas, Ali and Salman. These in strings के base addresses store हैं इस array में, names array में. So this is how you initialize when you declare array of pointer. So base address of Ahmed, string constant Ahmed, is stored in name 0. So name 0 is particular element, that is 0th index element of the names array, and the address of this string will be stored in this element, right? Now let's see the memory map. So this is the array of pointer to string. No, this is an array of pointer names containing 6 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How we know that the size of this array is 6? Because we have a 6 string, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 string. So first the memory will be allocated for Ahmed, then and the address of that string. So जिस memory में जिस position पे Ahmed लिखा जाएगा and the null character, the base address of this string is, let's say, 600. That will be stored in the 0th index element. ये तमाम मेमोरी जो एलोकेट होगी दैट इज आफ्टर द सक्सेसफुल एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ दिस डिक्लेरेशन एंड इनिशियलाइजेशन ऑफ array of pointer to string. ये जो ऊपर आपके सामने एक कोड लिखा हुआ है. Then memory is allocated for Fahad, and जिस मेमोरी पे वो जो एलोकेट होगी जहाँ पे फहद लिखा जाएगा उसका जो बेस एड्रेस होगा that will be assigned to the 1th index. This means that this 1th index points to, this is a pointer that points to this memory location where we have a string Fahad. Then memory is allocated for a string Nazia, and its address will be stored in the 2nd index, and Waqas, its address will be stored in the 3rd index. Then Ali, its address will be stored in the 4th index, and then Salman, its address will be stored in the last index, 5th index, right? So this is the memory allocated. Now you can see that there is no waste of memory. जितना उस नेम का साइज है उतने ही बाइट्स एलोकेट होंगे. कौन करेगा? सी खुद से करेगा, बिकॉज आपने यहाँ पे रिस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं किया, स्पेसिफाई नहीं किया कि कितना साइज होगा, कितने कॉलम्स एलोकेट करने हैं. ठीक है, यू जस्ट से दैट दिस इज द अरे ऑफ पॉइंटर टू स्ट्रिंग, सो every pointer points to a particular string. So Ahmed contains 6 bytes, so 6 byte ही हैं, there is no extra byte allocated for that string. Similarly Ali के लिए 4 bytes allocate हुए हैं, so 4 bytes के अलावा कोई extra byte नहीं है. So we avoid the memory wastage when we use array of pointer to string instead of 2-dimensional array of character. So another reason to use an array of pointers, so the first reason is to avoid memory wastage, and the other reason to use an array of pointer to store string is to obtain greater ease in manipulation of string. So हमारे पास एक 2-dimensional array है names की, ठीक है, 2-dimensional array of character है where we have store name, and we have array of pointers where we have store name. Then if we want to manipulate something in the list, it will be easier if we have array of pointers to character instead of 2-dimensional array of character. We will see in the example program. Let's see 2 programs. First uses a 2-dimensional array of character to store names, and second program uses an array of pointers to string. Now you know both the things. We will write the same program using these 2 approaches and see how it provides the ease of manipulation in string. So the purpose of both the program is very simple. We want to exchange the position of the name Waqas and Ali. So this is the original list. So Waqas is at the 3rd position and Ali is at 4th position, and we want to swap these values so that Ali comes up and Waqas comes down. So this is what we want. So Waqas goes at 5th position and Ali comes up. So Waqas goes at 5th position and Ali comes at 4th position. Waqas is previously at the 4th position, it comes at the 5th position, and Ali is previously at 5th position, it comes at 4th position. This is what we want, and we write 2 programs, one with 2-dimensional array of characters, and the second one is that uses an array of pointers to string, and we'll see what is the difference. This is the first program. This is what you already know, that we have a 2-dimensional array of characters. So this thing is optional. If you remember, when we are on the chapter, on the lecture where we have seen 2-dimensional array of integers, 2-dimensional array of integers, I told you that the number of rows is optional, but you have to tell the columns. That is compulsory, right? So number of rows will be determined by the number of strings. You can write all these strings in a single line, or you can write like this as well. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6. So there are 6 rows and 10 columns for the name array. Okay, the original value of, so we want to exchange this Waqas and Ali. So the address of this, if we want to print a string, we have to provide the memory address. If we want to print the ordinary variable, we just write the name of that variable. We won't provide the memory address. Please remember this point, that whenever you want to print using printf function a string, you have to provide the memory address. So the memory address of this string Waqas is and names 30. 3 is 0 1 2 3. So that is at 3rd row. So 3 0. So Waqas will be written over here. If I write 3 1, then that is the address of this AQAS. It will write AQAS. So 0 is W and third is 0, 1, 2, 3. So third row and 0th column, the address of this element we write AND over here, so it will print Waqas and Ali, and then we will swapping the values. So हम एक string की value दूसरी string में assign कर रहे हैं character by character. We know the maximum length of the name could be 10, so we have a loop from 0 to 10. So 0 to I तक loop चलेगा, that means 10 times loop execute होगा. So name 3 of 0, so name 3 is this Waqas and 0 is W. So name 30, that is one character, that will be assigned to a character variable T, and then name 30 की जगह आप name 40 insert करें. 40 में Ali हमारे पास A है, so A will be written over here. ठीक है, this is a simple swapping. That is, if you have a value of X, X is 10 and Y is 20, and if you want to exchange the value, first you do T is equal to X. You assign the value of X to some other variable, then you are ready to write something in X. So you write X is equal to Y, assigning the value of Y to X, and then Y is equal to T. So same is the case here. So आप character by character जो कर रहे हैं, then value I की value change रहेगी, then it comes to the second element, then third, then fourth, and then fifth, and till it goes till it to the 9th index. ठीक है, then उसके बाद जब आप name print करेंगे, the new names are, you see they are both the same printf, but here it print Ali and Waqas. So the names are swapped. So this is the logic for exchanging fourth and fifth name. So fourth name is Waqas and fifth name is Ali. So that is the logic. For loop में ये पूरा for loop है जो 9 times iterate हो रहा है और character by character आप write कर रहे हैं. So first आप character pick करेंगे fourth string का, you copy it on some other variable, and then you pick the first character of the fifth name, and then you copy it at the first place of the fourth array, that is first character of the first byte of the fourth name. So that is the first byte of the fourth name where we have a W. So W will be overwrite by the A because previously we have stored that value in the variable T. And this process goes on and the two arrays are swapped. Let's go to the program. So this is the program. Here we have a two-dimensional array of characters. Okay, let's say first let me run this program, compile it and execute it. So original Waqas Ali and new Ali Waqas. So the position is changed. You see, I'm printing in this printf function and name 30, and here also and name 30, and name 40 and name 40. इसकी पोजीशन यहाँ पे मैंने चेंज नहीं की, यहाँ पे वही थर्ड जो फोर्थ एलिमेंट है, फोर्थ नेम है वो प्रिंट होगा, बट नाउ द फोर्थ नेम इज Ali, not Waqas, and the fifth name is Waqas, not Ali, right? Okay, let me show you here. If I write 1 over here, then what it will print? It will print AQAS, because now I am providing the address of a string, third row and 1th column. So third is 0, 1, 2, 3, third row, and 1th column is 0 and 1th column. So it starts from here and it prints that thing. Let's see it. Okay, now the original string is AQAS because I write 1 over here. So मैंने शुरू से लिखना स्टार्ट नहीं किया. So आप जो भी बेस एड्रेस प्रोवाइड करेंगे, जो भी मेमोरी एड्रेस प्रोवाइड करेंगे, printf function start printing from that memory address and it goes on until it finds the null character, right? So this is the program using array of two-dimensional array of characters. Now let's see the same program using array of pointers. Okay, this is an array of pointers containing the same list. Then we have a temporary pointer. Now the original names are, this is the same printf statement, and this is the simple logic for exchanging fourth and fifth name. And what is the logic? Logic is that because name of 3 में क्या है? Name of 3 में address है उस memory का where we have this array Waqas, if you remember from the previous slide. And name of 4 में क्या है? Memory address है, पूरी array नहीं पड़ी, पूरी string नहीं पड़ी, just the memory address of the location where we have a string Ali, right? So what we are doing is we are copying this memory address, name of 3 का जो memory address है, we are copying that address in temp, and name of 4 का जो memory address है, we are copying it at memory 3, and temp is again copied to memory 4. So just उनके addresses exchange किए हैं. Before going into the program, let's go to the slide where I have shown you the array of pointers. That is this slide. Okay, we want to exchange this name Waqas and Ali in the list. So what we did is we swap these addresses. We write this address 745 in a temporary place first, and then we write 789 at this memory location, and then at this memory location we write the memory address from the temporary variable. Now the 4th index contains 745 and the 3rd index contains 789. 789 points to this string and 745 points to this string. So जब आप इसको तरतीब वाइज प्रिंट करेंगे तो वो प्रिंट जो करेगा पहले अली को करेगा, बाद में वकास को करेगा. Let's go to the program. Okay, this is the program. Now you see there's no need for the for loop. There's just the one value. There are just the 2 values, and you want to swap these 2 values regardless they are addresses or they are integer values. So they are addresses, no problem, you can have a temporary variable. So जिस type का ये value होगी, type of this value is address, so you need a pointer to store that memory address, right? That is the thing that you have to remember. If the value here is integer, then you need an integer variable. If the value here is float, then you need a float variable. Now let's run this program. Now this is the memory address. So names जो array है उसके 3rd index पे क्या पड़ा होगा, उसके 3rd index पे जो value होगी, that is the memory address of the memory where we have a string Waqas, and name of 4 में जो 4th index element है उसमें भी memory address होगा where we have a string Ali, और names of 0 में भी एक memory address होगा, and that memory address is of the memory where we have a string Ahmed, right? If you remember the slide that I have shown you, the memory map of the array of pointers. Now let's compile and run this program, and it also swap these 2 names. Now you can see we avoid the for loop, the lengthy for loop, with the simple 3 statements, swapping statements, right? So this is very easy. If you have a pointer of array, if you have an array of pointers to string for the string manipulation, instead of if you have a 2-dimensional array of characters. Now let's see what is a garbage value. When a variable is declared, it is associated with some memory location. That is what we already know. So if we declare a variable x, a memory will be associated for that variable. Now the garbage value is the value present in this memory location before you will initialize x with some other value. अब इस memory location पे you haven't initialized x with any integer constant. You haven't write x is equal to 10 or x is equal to 1 or x is equal to 0, nothing like this. So that means if you simply write integer x, memory is allocated for the variable x, perfectly fine. But what is written over that memory location, इस memory location पे कोई value लिखी होगी जो कि previous value होगी, previously किसी variable ने use किया होगा, previously इस memory location किसी program ने use किया होगा, so the values are there. So memory, जब भी एक program execute होता है, memory will be allocated for that program, and when the program exit, memory will be deallocated. Memory will be taken back from that program. That means that that memory is free for the other program to be used. So operating system उस memory में से for example कोई memory का piece आपके किसी variable के लिए assign कर देता है 4 bytes का. So that means उस 4 byte पे previously कोई value लिखी हुई थी, and you don't know that value, and that value is actually the garbage value for your program, because your program doesn't need that value. So that's why it is called a garbage value. So if I won't initialize x with any value, if I print the value of x, then I don't know what is the value of x. It will print some garbage value. That means it prints some integer value that is useless for my program, or that is useless for me, right? And that's why it is called a garbage value. So the previously value that is written at that memory location, that is called a garbage value. If you write int x is equal to 10, then if you print x, now you know the value of x will be 10. ठीक है, इस केस में आप x जब आप प्रिंट करेंगे तो गार्बेज वैल्यू प्रिंट नहीं होगी. Now let's comes to the limitation. अब ये जो गार्बेज वैल्यू वाला कंसेप्ट है इसको आप ज़हन में रखिएगा. Let's see the limitation of array of pointer to string. A two-dimensional array of characters can be initialized with string at the declare time, we have already seen, or from the string input from the scanf function or getters function. We have already seen this as well कि आप टू डायमेंशनल array of character में आप यूजर से भी इनपुट ले सकते हैं या आप डिक्लेयर टाइम पर भी उसको किसी भी लिस्ट ऑफ नेम से इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हैं, किसी भी लिस्ट ऑफ स्ट्रिंग से इनिशियलाइज कर सकते हैं टू डायमेंशनल array को. But an array of pointer to string can be initialized with string at declare time only. We cannot receive the string from the keyboard using scanf and or getters function. क्यों नहीं कर सकते? Array of pointer की एक limitation है कि आपके पास, because array of pointer contains the memory addresses, right? Memory addresses of the string, and you can initialize those memory addresses at declare time only. It is not possible कि आप प्रोग्राम को एग्जीक्यूट करें, यूजर से वैल्यू इनपुट लें और वो जो स्ट्रिंग होगी उसको मेमोरी में राइट करें और उसका एड्रेस पॉइंटर में स्टोर कर दें. दैट इज नॉट एक्सप्लिसिट, यू हैव टू डू इट. सो until now we can say an array of pointer to string can be initialized with strings at declare time, but we cannot receive the string from keyboard using scanf or getters function. Why it is so? For example, if we have this array of pointers, so जब हम इस तरह से इसको डिक्लेयर करेंगे, now we haven't initialized it with any string or any memory addresses, and then in the for loop we are going to take input value. ठीक है, perfect. Now let's come to the garbage value concept. Okay, this is a array of pointers whose type is character containing 6 elements. So each element is a 4 byte because it is a pointer, and it should point to the memory address where you have characters store, right? So each of the element contains 4 byte, and what do you think, what value will be written over here if you haven't initialized these 6 indexes? 0th index पे आपने कुछ नहीं लिखा, 1th पे कुछ नहीं लिखा, 2nd पे कुछ नहीं लिखा, 3rd पे, 4th पे, 5th पे कोई वैल्यू असाइन नहीं की. यहाँ पर डिक्लेयर टाइम में मैं बात कर रहा हूँ. Here, just here, when this statement is executed, so this memory will be allocated and nothing will be returned, nothing will be assigned to these indexes. So the garbage, so यहाँ पर हमारे पास क्या वैल्यू होगी? गार्बेज वैल्यू होगी. Garbage value at the 0th index, garbage value at 1 index, 2nd index, 3rd, 4th, 5th index. These all contains the garbage value. Now we have the for loop, and it would first the printf will be executed, so the message will be printed, enter name. Now in the scanf function you provide that, okay, you input a string and you have to store at address name 0. So name 0 में क्या पड़ा हुआ है? एक गार्बेज वैल्यू पड़ी हुई है. उस गार्बेज वैल्यू को उठाएगा, सो गार्बेज वैल्यू जो भी होगी उस एड्रेस पे जाने की कोशिश करेगा, ट्राई टू एक्सेस दैट एड्रेस जो भी यहाँ पे गार्बेज वैल्यू पड़ी थी, एंड इट ट्राइज टू राइट दैट स्ट्रिंग ऑन दैट गार्बेज एड्रेस. यहाँ पर अब एक और बात समझने की जरूरत है. whenever your program is executed, operating system allocates a portion of memory to that program. For every process, not your program, if you execute Microsoft Word or any other program is executed, a memory portion is allocated for that program, right? And operating system won't allow any program to access the memory that is not allocated for that program. So if my program is executing, some portion of memory will be is allocated for my program, ठीक है, और उसी allocated portion के अंदर तमाम वेरिएबल सब कुछ डिक्लेयर होंगे, right? सो वो एलोकेशन इतनी ही की जाती है कि इसमें तमाम चीज़ें डिक्लेयर हो जाएं। अगर आपने एक प्रोग्राम में बहुत सारे वेरिएबल्स लिखे हुए हैं तो उसको थोड़ा बड़ा पोर्शन एलोकेट होगा, अगर कम वेरिएबल डिक्लेयर किए हुए हैं तो कम पोर्शन एलोकेट होगा। दैट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम एंड सी हैज़ टू डिसाइड, राइट? एंड you just have to remember that each program, when it is executed, a memory will be allocated for that program, and operating system won't allow any program to access the memory that is not allocated for that program. So if I try to run that program, here it is accessing the value, here it is accessing the memory that is most probably lie outside the memory that is allocated for that particular program. So ये जो गार्बेज वैल्यू होगी, और जहाँ पर कंपाइलर, यहाँ पर विंडोज़ ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम जो है आपके प्रोग्राम को शट डाउन कर देगा। इट गिव्स सम मैसेज एंड योर प्रोग्राम विल बी शट डाउन। व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज़ ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस द मेमोरी दैट इज़ नॉट एलोकेटेड फॉर योर प्रोग्राम, ठीक है? और इट इज़ ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस द मेमोरी दैट इज़ outside the memory that is allocated for your program. So आपके प्रोग्राम को जो memory allocate हुई है उससे बाहर वो lie कर रहा है. If you try to access that memory location in your program that is outside the memory that is allocated for your program, then Windows will have to shut down that program, because that is the security issue. Here we are doing the same thing. So हम यहाँ पर गार्बेज वैल्यू पड़ी है, 1th इंडेक्स में भी गार्बेज है, 3rd में भी गार्बेज है. So जब ये 0th इंडेक्स उठाएगा, so नेम्स ऑफ 0 में क्या है? ये गार्बेज वैल्यू है, और वो इसको एज ए एड्रेस बनाएगा, ठीक है? जब इसको एज ए एड्रेस बनाएगा and it tries to write the value at that memory address most probably lie outside the memory that is allocated for your program, and operating system won't allow you to do this. So that is the limitation of the array of pointers to string, that you cannot store or you cannot assign the string that is input from the user, but there is a way to do so. So the above program will give error at runtime. Solution. So solution is to use a dynamic memory allocation, but let's see the concept of the garbage value and the concept of the accessing the memory that is not allocated, that is not from the allocated memory of your program. Let's see the C program for this. I comment out all this portion. Okay, now we declare a variable x and have a printf function, enter integer value, then scanf function. Now in scanf function, if you remember, we have to provide the address of the variable. If I write the address of the variable like this, and x, now I am sure that the memory allocated for this variable will reside inside the memory that is allocated for my program when that program is executed. Now I'm sure that this is a valid memory address. I'm accessing the valid memory address. And what if I forget to write and over here? That is not the compiler error, और यहाँ पर मुझे रन टाइम पर error आएगा. Now x contains a garbage value, so x means the value of x, and x means the address of the memory that is associated with x. Both are the different things. Now you can easily understand this thing at this level. And so if I write x over here, now what the scanf function will do, it will try to access this garbage value address. Okay, if the value of x is not garbage, it's the value 10. Now this is the address of the very beginning position in the RAM. Memory RAM ही होती है ना. So अगर यहाँ पे 10 लिखती है, now the address is 10, and 10 is very starting portion जो कि ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम के लिए होता है, उसको एक्सेस करने की कोशिश करेगा अब ये प्रोग्राम, और यहाँ पर ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम इसे शट डाउन कर देगा. ठीक है, लेट्स कंपाइल दिस प्रोग्राम एंड एग्जीक्यूट इट. लेट मी चेंज द स्क्रीन साइज फर्स्ट so that it will be visible for you guys. Okay, so enter integer value. So until now scanf function won't be executed. It's just waiting for the input. When the input is completed, it tries to write that on that address. So let's see. You see, temp.exe has stopped working. Windows can check online for the solution. So there's a problem, and you have to close the program. So program अब इसके बाद further execute नहीं होगा. For example, if I have another printf statement, printf value is equal to %d, जो value input की है उसको मैं print कर रहा हूँ. Let's say if write x over here, so it won't allow this printf to be executed. Let's say if I put AND over here, then what happened? So value is 13. So it prints that value perfectly fine, because here it is accessing the address that I know that it is a valid memory address. And what is the valid memory address for this program? The valid memory address for this program, when this program is executed, is the memory address residing inside the memory that is allocated for this program. Since we know कि जब भी program run होगा उसको memory का part allocate हो जाएगा, so that program has to access the memory inside that allocated memory. It is not allowable by the Windows to access the memory that is not allocated for that program. ठीक है? So if I won't write x over here, then it try to access the memory whose address is 100 maybe. ठीक है? And that is not allowed by the operating system. The value is 14. It gives me an error. I have to close that program. No other option. If I go to check the solution, it will open the Internet Explorer, but it will close your program, because your program is trying to access the memory that is not the allocated for that program. Similarly, if we have array of pointers, so array of pointers to integer or to characters. Now each of these element contains the 4 bytes of memory will be allocated for each of these element, and these 4 bytes, we haven't initialized these 4 bytes over here, so these 4 bytes contains the garbage value, and that is happening, and that is the limitation of the array of pointers to string, that you cannot initialize the array of pointers at run time. ठीक है, आपको declare time पर ही initialize करना है. If you declare time, it means you have to write something like this. आपको यहाँ पर ही name लिखनी है, first name in double quotes and then second name in double quotes and so on, right? Now let's go back to the slide. So that's why it gives you an error over here, because here it is a garbage value. So what is the solution for this? If we want to input string from the user and its memory address to be stored in the array of pointer, then we have to use dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation is basically your program is requesting a portion of memory from the operating system at runtime or during execution time. कि execution time पे वो request करेगा operating system से कि मुझे इतना portion memory का चाहिए. ठीक है? So if you want that to input strings from the user and its address to be stored in array of pointers, उसका address, so पहले memory में write करेगा string को, memory पहले request करेगा कि इतनी memory मुझे चाहिए. जब operating system उतनी memory दे देगा, then उस memory का address, it will store that address in array of pointers, and that is achievable through dynamic memory allocation. And dynamic memory allocation is the process of allocating memory during the execution of the program, and that is also called runtime memory allocation. In C, malloc function, malloc is short for memory allocation function, so that function is used for the dynamic memory allocation, and this is the prototype of the function. It returns a void pointer. Pointer return करेगा, that means एक address return करेगा, but that address has no type. So pointer की अभी तक हमने types पढ़ी थी, integer type का होता है, character type का होता है, float type का होता है pointers, but we haven't seen the void pointer. So void pointer means it is a pointer but it has no type. That means it is the address of the memory location where you can store any type of value. आप इंटीजर भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं, आप कैरेक्टर भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं, आप फ्लोट भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं, वट एवर यू वॉन्ट. एंड sorry, there is a spelling mistake. This is with a single a. This malloc is with a single a, malloc integer n. Now malloc function allocates n bytes of memory. So n is the number of bytes you provide it as a parameter of memory, and returns that memory space base address. So अगर हम n में लिखते हैं 100, so it allocates 100 bytes in memory. एलोकेट किस तरह करेगा? ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम से रिक्वेस्ट करेगा, ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम मेमोरी एलोकेट करने के बाद, सो दैट इज कॉल्ड अ ग्रेसफुल वे for requesting the memory. So the other way is you just access any memory address from your program that is not allowable by the operating system. So malloc function allocates n bytes. So if n is 100, it allocates 100 bytes and it returns the base address of that memory location. Now अब malloc function को नहीं पता what you are going to store on that memory location. For example, if it allocates 20 bytes of memory, you say that okay, n is 20, you call malloc function with 20 with single a. It allocates 20 byte of memory, but malloc function don't know that what you are going to store on that memory location. You can store 20 characters, you can store 5 integers, you can store 5 floats on that memory location. So malloc function don't know. That's why it return a void pointer, and you have to typecast that pointer. We will see how to typecast that pointer. So the reason for the void pointer returned by the malloc function is that malloc function don't know that कि उसने जो मेमोरी एलोकेट की है उस मेमोरी पे आप किस टाइप की वैल्यू स्टोर करेंगे, बिकॉज यू जस्ट मेंशन टू द malloc फंक्शन ओके एलोकेट्स n byte, it allocates n byte and return you the base address, and the type of that address is void static, void pointer. So malloc function don't know कि आप उस मेमोरी एड्रेस पे क्या स्टोर करेंगे. लेट्स सी द एग्जांपल प्रोग्राम. सो एग्जांपल प्रोग्राम को से देखने से पहले आपको इसका तरीका बता दूं कि प्रोसीजर बता दूं डायग्राम की फॉर्म में कि फर्स्ट वी हैव अ बिगर अरे, वी टेक इनपुट अ नेम फ्रॉम द यूजर इन दैट अरे, वी फाइंड द लेंथ ऑफ दैट स्ट्रिंग देन. सो फॉर एग्जांपल ये जो अरे आपके पास ये जो एक मेमोरी स्पेस नज़र आ रही है दैट इज़ फॉर एग्जांपल 50 बाइट्स लॉन्ग, और यूजर ने जो नेम इनपुट किया है वो 10 बाइट्स का है. देन वी फाइंड द लेंथ ऑफ दैट स्ट्रिंग, बिकॉज इट इज़ पॉसिबल कि किसी का नाम शायद 50 लेटर्स का भी हो, 50 कैरेक्टर का भी हो, और आपने इस अरे का साइज़ 30 रखा हुआ है. ये जो एक बेस अरे है, बड़ी अरे है, इसका साइज़ लेट से 30 बाइट्स है, और आपने इस असम्पशन से रखा है कि हो सकता है किसी का नाम 30 बाइट हो और 30 बाइट से बड़ा ना हो. सो कोई भी नेम अगर एंटर किया, फॉर एग्जांपल यूजर ने नेम एंटर किया अहमद, यू फाइंड द लेंथ ऑफ दैट अरे, दैट स्ट्रिंग यूजिंग स्ट्रिंग लेंथ फंक्शन. Then you allocate the memory string length plus 1, length plus 1. आप उतनी memory allocate करेंगे using malloc function, because malloc function को बताएंगे कितने bytes allocate करनी है. So string length आपको बताएगा उसमें कितने character हैं, plus 1 is for the null character. You allocate the memory like this, and then you copy the content of from the bigger array to the smaller array. So इसमें ये fix आ जाएंगे, कोई memory waste नहीं होगा. And then you have an array of pointers to string, and you assign this memory address, you copy this memory address to the 0th index element. And then for the second input आप दोबारा name इसी में input लेंगे bigger array में. Then you find the length of that string, you allocate another memory that whose size is length plus 1. जो second string input हुई थी उसकी length plus 1, वो size उतनी आप मेमोरी रिजर्व करेंगे यूजिंग malloc फंक्शन. एंड देन यू कॉपी द कंटेंट फ्रॉम दिस बिगर स्ट्रिंग टू दैट स्ट्रिंग, उस स्ट्रिंग में कॉपी करेंगे, एंड देन उसके बाद आप उस जो मेमोरी है उसका एड्रेस असाइन कर देंगे टू द 1th इंडेक्स. सो दैट इज द प्रोग्राम. सो व्हेन दिस स्टेटमेंट इज एग्जीक्यूटेड इट एलोकेट मेमोरी, ठीक है. सो 0 to 5 इंडेक्सेस हैं. तो उसके बाद ये जो नेम n है, ठीक है. सो ये जो array of pointer है that is here, और name n you can see the 50, its size is 50. Why we make its size 50? Because we assume that maybe 50 character से बड़ा किसी का नाम ना हो, जो maximum name होगा शायद किसी का 50 character का हो या इससे छोटे ही होंगे. So this is n actually right? Then we declare some variable, then the loop will be executed 6 times because we have to input 6 names, and each of these names address of these strings will be stored in the string array of pointers. Then हमारे पास printf function है, enter name, you have to input name, so आप name input करेंगे, that will be stored in n, so वो n में store हो जाएगा इस बड़ी array में, ठीक है? n में store होने के बाद then the next thing is you find the length of that string length function से आपने length find की. So if the size of this string, if you determine the size of n, it will give you 50 every time. But let's say the first name is Ahmed, so the length of the string n will be AHMAD 5. So string length will return you 5. In the next, that is a malloc function, you are calling malloc function, you are passing 5 plus 1, 6 bytes. You are saying to a malloc function, okay, 6 byte of memory, reserve 6 byte of memory. So malloc function, 6 byte of memory will be, it reserves 6 byte of memory, and then it return a void pointer, and here you are converting the type of that pointer from void static to character static and assign that address to pointer p. Now since I am allocating this 6 byte in my program, and I know as a programmer that what type of value I am going to store in those 6 byte, so ये type conversion मैंने यहाँ पे खुद ही लिखनी होगी. अगर मैं इंटीजर स्टोर मैंने यहाँ पे करनी है तो मैं इसको int static में कन्वर्ट कर दूंगा. सो 6 बाइट है, मैंने कैरेक्टर स्टोर करनी है, सो malloc फंक्शन जो void static रिटर्न करेगा इसको आप कैरेक्टर स्टैटिक में कन्वर्ट कर देंगे बिकॉज द टाइप ऑफ द पॉइंटर हेयर इज कैरेक्टर एंड यू नो कि आपने इस मेमोरी में क्या एलोकेट करना है. नाउ दिस मेमोरी विल बी एलोकेटेड, ये मेमोरी एलोकेट हो जाएगी, ठीक है? एंड देन ये मेमोरी जो एलोकेट हो जाएगी इसका एड्रेस हमारे पास एक पॉइंटर में आ जाएगा. देन वी आर कॉपिंग द कंटेंट फ्रॉम द n टू दिस p मेमोरी. हम इसमें कंटेंट कॉपी करेंगे. कंटेंट कॉपी करने के बाद बिकॉज p इज अ पॉइंटर दैट पॉइंट्स टू अ मेमोरी लोकेशन हुज साइज इज 6, ठीक है? एंड देन वी आर कॉपिंग द कंटेंट फ्रॉम n टू p. कंटेंट कॉपी हो जाएंगे एंड देन वी असाइन द एड्रेस. सो p के पास क्या होगा, एक एड्रेस होगा. एड्रेस किसका होगा, इस मेमोरी लोकेशन का. सो दैट एड्रेस विल बी असाइंड टू द 0th इंडेक्स एलिमेंट, राइट? सो नेम ऑफ 0, सो i की वैल्यू 0 है, सो नेम ऑफ 0 इज दिस एलिमेंट. यहाँ पर क्या साइन हो जाएगा, p, नॉट स्टैटिक p. स्टैटिक p इज के वैल्यू एट एड्रेस p. p इज द मेमोरी एड्रेस. किसका मेमोरी एड्रेस है, जो मेमोरी आपने malloc फंक्शन के थ्रू एलोकेट की थी. सो इसको यहाँ पर एक मेमोरी एड्रेस साइन हो जाएगा, ठीक है? नाउ दिस पॉइंट्स टू सम मेमोरी लोकेशन. नेक्स्ट आपके पास ये हो गया एंड देन सो ऑन, ये फंक्शन चलता रहेगा. इसके बाद i की वैल्यू 1 हो जाएगी, दोबारा आप नेम इनपुट करेंगे, दोबारा नेम यहाँ पर लिखा जाएगा, ओवरराइट हो जाएगा. सो इफ द प्रीवियस नेम इज अहमद एंड द नेक्स्ट नेम इज अली, अली स्मॉलर नेम, सो ALI के बाद वो नल कैरेक्टर इंसर्ट कर देगा. So that means that string length function will give you 3. So the memory allocated will be 3 plus 1, 4. और malloc function 4 byte allocate करेगा. It will return you void pointer. You have to convert the type of that pointer from void static to character static and assign it to the pointer p. Now p points to this memory location, ठीक है, for the early. And then उसके बाद आप बड़ी string से आपने इस जो मेमोरी एलोकेट किया वहाँ पर कंटेंट कॉपी कर दिए अली, बिकॉज p पॉइंटर उस मेमोरी लोकेशन को पॉइंट कर रहा है जिसमें सिर्फ 4 बाइट एलोकेटेड है. सो 3 बाइट इज़ फॉर ALI एंड 4th बाइट इज़ फॉर नल कैरेक्टर. एंड देन आपने वो पॉइंटर का एड्रेस जो है वो नेम ऑफ 1 में साइन कर दिया, सो यहाँ पर एड्रेस आ जाएगा इसका एंड सो ऑन. उसके बाद जो नेक्स्ट फॉर लूप है उसमें आप नेम प्रिंट कर रहे हैं. लेट्स सी दैट प्रोग्राम. सो इट्स लाइक आपके पास सबसे पहले एक बड़ी अरे है, उस बड़ी अरे के अंदर आप नेम ले लेंगे बिकॉज यू डोंट नो कि यूज़र जो नेम इनपुट करने जा रहा है उसका साइज उसमें 3 लेटर्स हैं या उसमें 20 लेटर्स हैं, उसमें 50 लेटर्स हैं. सो एक बड़ी सी अरे ले ली, उसमें नेम इनपुट ले लिया, देन यू फाइंड द लेंथ ऑफ दैट नेम एंड लेंथ प्लस 1 आपने मेमोरी एलोकेट कर दी. Then you have to copy the content from the bigger array to the smaller array. आपने content copy कर दिया उसमें, and उस smaller जो memory है जहाँ पे आपने name copy कर दिया है उसका एड्रेस, यू विल असाइन दैट एड्रेस टू द 0th एलिमेंट ऑफ द अरे ऑफ पॉइंटर, एंड देन 1th सेकेंड जब आप करेंगे नेम इनपुट लेंगे, सेकेंड मेमोरी एलोकेट करेंगे, उसको असाइन कर देंगे 1th अरे में, ठीक है। Now let's compile this program and execute it. Enter name Najam, Salman, Ali. Okay, let me write the bigger name. Okay, input scanf से ले रहे हैं, so it is not possible to write the name that contains spaces. So let me write my name without space. My complete name is Malik Najmus Saqib. Okay, and then the name is Nazia, then the name is Fahad. You see, it display all those names. So इसके लिए इसने just 4 byte allocate किए होंगे, so there is no wastage of memory in this program, ठीक है। So now you can use dynamic memory allocation to assign the string to the array of pointers. कि string के addresses array of pointers को आप assign कर सकते हैं। Now free function, it is recommended to free the memory that is allocated at runtime. So runtime पर, that is dynamic memory, जब भी allocate करेंगे you have to use the free function to free that memory. Now in the previous slide you can see that this array of pointer, name array of pointer, contains 1 2 3 4 5 6 addresses of the memory, and all those memory is allocated dynamically, that is using malloc function. So before exiting from this program, we have to free all this memory whose addresses are contained by the array of pointer name. In C, free function releases the specific block of the memory back to the system. कि वो free कर देता है. Now back to the system means that now I am not using this memory space, and it says to the operating system, now this memory is free and you can assign this memory to any other program. So if you don't use free function, then this memory will be reserved until your system restart. So जब तक system restart नहीं होगा वो memory reserve रहेगी. Operating system भी, even आपका program shut down हो गया, exit हो गया, still that memory will be allocated there and no other program is able to use that memory. So prototype of the free function is void free, void static. So किसी भी type का pointer आप इसको बता देंगे. Pointer में क्या होगा? Address होगा. That is the address of the memory that is allocated using malloc function. So in the previous program we have to execute this for loop 6 times. ये for loop चलेगा. So name of 0, name of 1, name of 2, 3, 4, 5, इन तमाम में memory addresses हैं जो कि memory dynamically allocate की गई थी using malloc function. So 6 times loop चलेगा और तमाम उस memory को free कर देगा, and we have to execute this loop at the end of the program before exiting. Now let's see the malloc function for integer array. Yes, we can use malloc function for integer array as well. So let's see, write a program that asks the user to input number of subjects and user start entering the marks of those subjects. After that the program display all the marks. So प्रोग्राम ऐसा लिखना है आपने कि जिसमें यूज़र एंटर करेगा कि उसने कितने सब्जेक्ट्स के मार्क्स इनपुट करने हैं. सो अब कितने मीन्स इट कुड बी 5, इट कुड बी 1, इट कुड बी 100. सो here the better option is, one option is you can declare an array of 100 size. So what if the user chooses to enter marks only 5 subjects? So you are using just 5 elements and the other 97 elements are the waste of the memory. So here we can use a dynamic memory allocation. We reserve the memory. हम उतने subjects की memory reserve करेंगे जो user ने input किया था. So let's write this program. Integer, number, integer, static p pointer. Okay, then enter. Okay, write the printf statement. Printf, enter number of subjects. Right, and then in scanf function आप ये number of subjects input ले लें. अब हमने इसके मुताबिक memory allocate करनी है and we have to assign the value at that memory location. Right. एंड num में इनपुट ले लिया इस मेमोरी लोकेशन पे, राइट. नाउ वी हैव टू एलोकेट मेमोरी. कितनी मेमोरी एलोकेट करनी है फॉर num इंटीजर्स? लेट्स से इट्स n, फॉर n इंटीजर्स. सो अगर यूजर कहता है आई हैव टू इनपुट मार्क्स ऑफ 5 सब्जेक्ट्स, सो यू हैव टू एलोकेट मेमोरी फॉर 5 इंटीजर्स. और 5 इंटीजर्स के लिए जो मेमोरी एलोकेट होगी, हाउ मच बाइट इट विल एलोकेट? It will allocate 5 into 4, 20 bytes, because each integer take 4 bytes. So p is equal to, we have to typecast that pointer in integer because we know we are going to store integer value, malloc function, and n multiply by 4. So whatever is the n, if n is 1, it allocate 1 into 4 byte only. Now we have a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than n I plus plus. Now we display the message enter marks for subject person D, that is I plus 1, and scanf में मार्क्स आपने इनपुट ले लिए. नाउ यू हैव टू स्टोर दैट मार्क्स. किस मेमोरी लोकेशन पे स्टोर करेंगे? पर्सन डी इज द टाइप ऑफ द इनपुट एंड यू हैव टू स्टोर दिस मार्क्स एट p plus I. So p is a pointer that points to a block of memory जहाँ पर आपके पास कुछ बाइट्स एलोकेटेड हैं, और p उस ब्लॉक के, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर 20 बाइट्स एलोकेट किए हैं, लेट्स से यूजर ने इनपुट किया था 5, लेट्स से यूजर ने इनपुट किया था 3 सब्जेक्ट्स, तो आपने 12 बाइट्स एलोकेट कर दिए. 3 into 4 is 12 बाइट्स फॉर द 3 इंटीजर, एंड p पॉइंट्स टू द फर्स्ट बाइट ऑफ दैट मेमोरी लोकेशन. सो p प्लस i जब इस एड्रेस पे स्टोर करेंगे तो ये फर्स्ट एड्रेस पे स्टोर करेगा. देन वैल्यू ऑफ i बिकम्स 1, तो p इज लेट्स से 500, तो प्लस 1 जब करेंगे तो 504 हो जाएगा. नेक्स्ट एड्रेस आ जाएगा फॉर द इंटीजर वैल्यू, एंड इन द नेक्स्ट फॉर लूप लेट्स प्रिंट दोज वैल्यूज. नेक्स्ट फॉर लूप में हम इसकी वैल्यूज प्रिंट कर देते हैं जो हमने इनपुट की थी. क्या वैल्यूज वो सही इनपुट हो गई हैं? सो मार्क्स इज इक्वल टू पर्सन डी, और पर्सन डी में हम क्या लिखेंगे? p प्लस आई जो एड्रेस है, p प्लस आई जो एड्रेस है उस पर वैल्यू कौन सी पड़ी है? वैल्यू एट एड्रेस p प्लस आई, दैट विल बी प्रिंटेड इन दिस फॉर लूप, एंड देन system pause, right? So let's declare the variable I as well. Okay, I hope it works fine. /n. Okay, let's compile it. So we missed semicolon over here. Let's compile it again. Perfectly fine, and execute it. Now enter number of subjects. Like let's say this number of subjects is 4. So 4 into 4, 16 bytes will be allocated. Marks for subject 1 is let's say 75. Marks for subject 2 is subject 1 के 76 मार्क्स हैं, subject 2 के 56 हैं, subject 3 के 87 हैं, subject 4 के 90 हैं. So subject 1 के 67, 56, 87, 90 marks. So you can see you can use malloc function to dynamically allocate the memory for the array. So this is the kind of dynamic array. Dynamic array means कि बाकी जितनी भी arrays हमने देखी थी, if we write the size of the array like A5, then this means that this is the static array whose size is known at the compile time. Compile करने से पहले आपको पता है इसके लिए कितने bytes allocate होंगे, perfectly fine, but you don't know how much byte will be allocated at compile time over here in this malloc function. So that's why it is called dynamic, or the memory is allocated at runtime. Okay, that's the end of our today's lecture. Let me summarize our today's lecture. In today's lecture, we have seen the two-dimensional array of character, then initializing two-dimensional array of character, array of pointer to string, garbage value, what is a garbage value, and dynamic memory allocation, and the free function.